Good evening, everyone. 2 people are facing capital murder charges after a weekend homicide in Columbus.
The arrest comes just 3 days after a man was found shot in the back of the head, that is, at a South Side apartment. Our Scott Martin joins us live in Columbus now with the very latest.
Joy and Andrea, investigators say that this appears to be a robbery that resulted in the shooting death of 34-year-old Marcus Pate. That is what leads investigators to the capital murder charge. Columbus police releasing new details after Saturday's deadly shooting. Police Chief Fred Shelton says the suspects, 25-year-old Malcolm Hill and 23-year-old Victoria Slayton, used to be friends with Marcus Pate. While the motive is still not being released, investigators say one thing was involved.
We can say that there was some drugs involved.
Police say the door of Pate's apartment in the 300 block of 11th Street South was locked. There's no evidence of someone forcing their way inside.
The door wasn't kicked in when the window was broken, so it appeared that someone let them in and they left out the door and locked it behind us.
District Attorney Scott Colomb says the suspects conspired to commit a robbery, ending in the death of Mr. Pate. Under Mississippi law, that constitutes as capital murder.
It comes with the potential of the highest punishment in our laws, which is the death penalty.
Both Colomb and Chief Shelton credit CPD's investigation division and others for their quick and efficient work. With such a big case, Chief Shelton says they're making sure the right folks are behind bars.
This is something where someone could either spend their life, rest their life in jail, or get the death penalty. And again, as a district concerned, people are presumed innocent and proven guilty. We want to make sure, this is very important, we want to make sure that we got it right, and we got it right on the beginning.
Hill and Slayton are expected to make their initial court appearance tomorrow. District Attorney Scott Colomb says that he is requesting from the judge that no bond be issued. Reporting live in Columbus, Scott Martin, WCBI News.
An alderman in Saltillo says it is taking too long for that city to switch its water supply, and he wants answers and an audit from state officials.
Allie Martin tells us the issue will be brought up this evening during a meeting of the Board of Aldermen.
Saltillo aldermen voted in July to switch the entire city to river water. That vote followed months of complaints from citizens who said their water pumped from city wells was often dirty with a foul odor. Many of those complaints began in October of 2017 when all customers were switched to groundwater from river water. 3 months after the vote to go back to the river water, the switch still hasn't happened.
It's just been delayed too long.
Alderman at-large Kopi Grantham says he wants answers, and he also plans to ask the state auditor's office to conduct an audit of Saltillo's water and sewer department.
So I just want to do the audit, and I just want an independent audit to somebody from the outside to come in and tell us what's going on with our water and sewer system. It's time to take this serious. It's time to take the people of Saltillo serious. They wanted a change, we listened, and it's time to make a change.
Saltillo Mayor Rex Smith says the switchover is taking longer than anticipated. He says there are several reasons, including higher than expected costs for several parts of the project.
As we approached the river board about coming back on, there were some things that they were going to require us that we were a little different and added some cost to it. We were going to be putting in a new meter.
Mayor Smith says there are also additional engineering and equipment costs that will add about $60,000 to initial estimates, but the mayor says things are moving forward.
The people have been good to us. They've been very patient. I'll just ask them to be patient a little longer. I know they get tired of hearing that, but what we're doing the right way, and when it's all said and done, we're going to have a great water system.
In Saltillo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
And our Quentin Smith is at that meeting. He will have more coming up on WCBI News at 10. Time now to get a first look at our forecast. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Jacob Dickey. A wet one out there across the area, Jacob.
It really has been, Andrea. We've seen the rain through much of the day. It's good if you like this type of weather to read a book or curl up under a blanket, but many of us have been out in there, out in it. It's 56 right now in Louisville. Those temperatures staying cool because of the clouds and the rain, and we are not alone. Lots of rain from Tennessee through Nashville, Columbus, off to the west towards Shreveport, Dallas, Fort Worth. That rain will continue, but there is an end coming to the rain. I'll have details on when the rain ends coming up here in just a bit.
This time of year, firefighters are often busy. It's fire season and grant season.
But some have yet to see any help. Our Riley Livingston talked with some area departments about the process. She joins us in the studio with that story.
Andrea, as one person I talked to said, it takes money, not water, to fight fires. But that money is often hard to find. Volunteer fire departments are usually fighting limited budgets as well as fires. That means they sometimes have to look harder to find much needed money. Grants go a long way in filling the gaps.
They're critical. The equipment that you have to purchase to fight fires is life safety equipment, therefore it's very expensive. We can only sell so many catfish plates. It's hard to raise the money.
While departments continue to apply for federal grants for these small stations, the money seems to be going other places.
Right now there's AFG fire grants that are open for rural fire departments. Those grants are hard to obtain only because rural fire departments don't have enough call volume to really get that funding.
We try to apply every year for the Assistance to Firefighters grant, and so far we're 0 for the last 5 that I know of.
This gear was bought the last time Winston County received the AFG grant. That was in 2005. 13 years later, it's near the end of its life expectancy, but replacing it is going to be hard.
If we could obtain an AFG grant, we need firefighter turnout gear, we need air packs. Those things expire after so many years, and they are very costly.
It's all about supply and demand, and the competition is fierce.
The grant funds are limited, and there are literally thousands of small fire departments applying, and the grantors do as good a job as they can do, I believe, to try to assess the actual need.
While federal aid is harder to get, there are some programs a little closer to home.
Right now, our biggest help comes from the Mississippi Forestry Commission. They have a program that goes on that helps these rural fire departments obtain or used fire trucks that are still in good shape that comes from the Air Force or military. We bring these trucks back, get them outfitted to fight wildland fire, and that is a huge asset.
Applications for the AFG grant close next week.
An expansion public school program is having a trickle-down effect.
We look at who else is being impacted when we come back.
Welcome back. The 2018 Mississippi Kids Count survey shows there are over 35,000 3- and 4-year-olds across the state who are not in school or some type of child care center.
That's why many school districts across the state now have pre-K programs to help fill the educational needs for kids in that group. Our Jory Talley joins us in the studio with more.
The Lowndes County School District started its pre-K program a few years ago and says it's continuing to expand, but the growth of these programs is having an impact on child care centers across the state.
When you sit in on this class at West Lowndes Elementary, you might think you're in the kindergarten class. But this is pre-K, filled with 4-year-olds learning and knowing how to already write their names.
G for goat.
Lowndes County School District Assistant Superintendent Susan Johnson believes the sooner children can get that real school feel, the better off they'll be down the road.
We are looking at their social development, their academics, they're just all areas of development that we look at, and it helps them perform better in school. When they get older. And we've seen the effects of that already.
The district's pre-K program started expanding last year with the addition of more students in the Title I program.
The tuition-based program that we have in Lowndes County School District, I believe, is a little cheaper than the regular daycare. And of course, the Title I program is free for the students, and of course, it does cost the Title I funding source. That's how it's funded.
Child and Parent Development Center Director at MUW, Penny Mansell, believes a lot of parents choose public pre-K because it is cheaper. But she says there's still a need for pre-K classes at daycares.
You've still got families who may not can do a public school type schedule. If they're only open 180 days of the year and we're open 250, that's a big difference. So there's a need and there's a definite place for both. We've just got to make sure we're all in the conversations together about it.
Mansell thinks it's great that public pre-K classrooms are growing, but says when there's growth, there's loss somewhere else.
It makes a huge difference for us because you have one teacher per 16 children, whereas in an infant class you may have one teacher per 5 kids. So in a class, in an older pre-K class, it's really where you're making your income, because you can't afford, 3 teachers to one child at the same age.
But concerns are growing among daycare directors across the state.
They love the idea and the concept of serving kids and more kids getting early childhood experiences. That's wonderful. But what does it really do to the centers? Are all these centers going to be able to stay open when they don't have these higher ratio classes to financially support what they're doing?
County District Assistant Superintendent Dr. Susan Johnson says the district's pre-K program has seen its highest interest this past year.
Well, we've been having that showery weather because we are on the backside of this cold front. Autumn weather to the north, to the south, summer sunshine. Coming up after the break, we'll let you know when the sunshine will finally return here.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Well, we've had the rain through much of the day today, and we've been staying cloudy out there. That's the story for us through the evening hours here. Lots of rain to talk about all across the southeast. A big band of showers with the occasional rumble of thunder all the way from the Carolinas and Virginia through Tennessee, North Mississippi, off to the west towards Texas. Been keeping a dreary fall day for many of us here. Still seeing some of these showers working on through. Some dry air trying to work on in, but I still think it's a bit dreary, misty, drizzly. However you want to describe that is what we'll be keeping our eyes on throughout the evening here. Just kind of a dreary fall night as those temperatures are not going anywhere. Some of the rain here through the Golden Triangle. We had some heavier showers earlier. They have since moved off to the east, but we'll just continue to watch the showers, I think, for the next 12 to 24 hours before things look to dry off. Temperatures right now are in those 50s all across the area. 52 in Corinth, Columbus, 55, 54 in Starkville, 59 in DeKalb. Not going to go down too much, but compared to yesterday where we are, they've gone down a lot. We were experiencing some summer temperatures yesterday afternoon. What 24 hours can do, knock those temperatures down 10 to 20 degrees from yesterday. Tonight, things stay in the 50s. I think we end up in the low 50s, a few of us in the upper 40s. We'll keep the chance for showers across the board here. We'll call it 53 in West Point. Amory, good evening to you. 51, 50 in Tupelo. I've got a few 40s up to the north, 48 in Oxford, 49 in Pontotoc, but again, showers expected through the evening and overnight hours. Our futurecast showing these showers continuing. It does pick up on maybe a few more developing to the south, but I think this is looking more drizzly than anything. We'll get the chance for some more showers through the morning hours on Wednesday, but by Wednesday afternoon, I think most of those showers will end. We'll see mostly cloudy skies through the day on Wednesday, though. It'll be Thursday before we get much sunshine really back into the area. As far as our temperatures Wednesday, they don't go up very much either. I've only got to the mid 60s, and again, more clouds than not through the day. Showers in the morning hours. That means we only get to 65 in Columbus, 63 in Lewisville, 64 in Eupora, up into the West Alabama, mid 60s as well, 67 in Vernon, 66 in Solagent, and in the Tupelo area, 65 Tupelo, 65 Houston, Aberdeen at 65. Now, as we look at the next couple of days here, by Thursday, then that front pushes far enough south and we get enough dry air on the backside of that high there that helps to push some of those clouds away. I think lots of sunshine there, but showers are not far off. Expecting some showers late Friday night. I think we're going to be okay for most of our football games, but overnight Friday looks to be a bit soggy. We'll keep that rain around Saturday morning before the sun comes back on Sunday.
The Bulldogs look to run it back in the SEC, and the preseason projections think it'll happen. More on women's hoops next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Less than 3 weeks away from tip-off of the women's basketball season. The Bulldogs finished at the top of the SEC a year ago, and the media thinks it'll stay more of the same in the 2018-2019 season. The media voting today at SEC Media Days for basketball today, and the Bulldogs picked to finish first yet again in the SEC Women's Basketball Preseason Poll. Coming right behind them, South Carolina at 2, Tennessee at 3, Georgia at 4, Missouri at 5, A&M at 6, Kentucky at 7, Auburn at 8, and LSU at 9. Into the back half of the SEC women's basketball standings, chosen by the media, Alabama at 10, Arkansas at 11, Florida at 12, Vanderbilt at 13, and Ole Miss finished to place at the bottom of the SEC, according to the media. They also chose Tierra McCown to be the preseason player of the year for the conference. Go to our website, WCBI.com, to see the preseason all-conference squads. Mother Nature presenting problems to the slow-pitch softball state tournament with North and South half finals set for today. There's been some delays. Starting with the Class 1A North half final, Smithfield taking on East Union. Game 1 starting at 3:30 tomorrow. And then in Class 1 South half final, Eupora travels to Philadelphia. That game has been tentatively set to 4 p.m. tomorrow. And then Class 2 North half final, Amory at South Pontotoc is set for 5 p.m. tomorrow. Again, those are all times for Game 1 of the series. We'll have much more from Slow Pitch Softball Tournament coming up tomorrow right here on WCBI Sports. Mother Nature also playing a hand in high school football this week. Tupelo's Road Division contest against DeSoto Central has been rescheduled to Thursday due to possible weather concerns. Also, another division matchup, Boonville and Mantachie, has also been rescheduled to play on Thursday. Taking a quick look at the AP prep polls for Week 10, Horn Lake staying at number 1, Hattiesburg at 2, Brandon at 3, Northwest Rankin at 4, Starkville at 5, West Point at 6. It's stayed that way for, it feels like, about 3 or 4 weeks now. Madison Central at 7, East Central at 8, Olive Branch at 9, and Oak Grove jumping into the top 10. Go to our website, WCBI.com, to see all the polls, but here are the most notable. In 4A, Louisville at 2 for our area, Pontotoc at 3, Corinth jumping into the top 5. Hey, the Warriors have been red hot this year. They've only lost 1 game, I think, to Tupelo. And then in 3A, a little bit of shakeup, Winona, Houston, Water Valley, and Boonville jumping into the top 5. 3A playoffs is going to be pretty exciting coming up in a few weeks. Time to recognize the linemen that keep the lights on at home and help clear the lanes for the running backs. Time for our Lineman of the Week.
Tonight's Lineman of the Week is brought to you by Northeast Mississippi Electric Power Association.
Cooperatives from all over the Southeast are in Florida helping them after Hurricane Michael. So tonight's Lineman of the Week from Northeast Mississippi Electric Power Association are their crew members who are in Florida right now helping with recovery efforts. Man, hats off to those guys. WCBI's Lineman of the Week goes to Oxford's Ryan Lipscomb, who received his 51 offer from Georgia State this past week and was also named to the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star Game. Chargers averaging 250 yards per game against a tough competition, leading top-ranked North Lake into halftime this past week. Oxford looks to stay hot at home against Columbus this week. That's it for sports. Last look at your forecast is next.
Few showers expected for Wednesday morning. We may have a few linger into Wednesday afternoon, but things will stay dry. I don't think we get much sunshine until Thursday, though. Friday overall looking dry, too. I think the rain holds off for many of us until after football games. It looks like a Friday night, Saturday morning rain event. More sunshine on Sunday. Very autumn look to the forecast, though.
Yeah.
40, so we're close to 30?
Close to 30. I almost did it.
I know, right?
Hat and gloves.
Thanks for joining us.